Živijo, dobrodošli spet v mojem podcast kotičku. Danes je z mano en res poseben gost, ki meni pomaga vsakič, ko se zataknem v svojih prepričanjih in zgodbah, pogledati na širšo sliko. Hadi, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome in my podcast corner. How do you feel here?
Amused.
You're used?
Amused.
Amused? Okay, well, amused is okay, probably.
Yeah.
I'm really very grateful that you came here. I know that you are a very busy man and you have so many things to do in your life, and we just had the whole weekend of a seminar, and I'm grateful that you still took time to be here and talk to us.
Well, thank you for having me, and looking forward to this talk.
Let's see where it takes us. I did not make any introduction because honestly, I don't know much about your background, because I was never so much interested in your background as I was really attracted to, I don't know, your energy or space, or just something that resonated with what I was looking for. So I would like to give you the space to introduce yourself. But first I have a question. If I ask your kids what you do in life, what would they say?
That I'm too much busy, and that I care too much about people, and I'm always after people to take care of them, and that I'm the worst dad in the world.
Well, kids are honest, right?
Yeah. But then maybe they will tell that I'm a loving dad, and that sometimes they enjoy also with me.
Okay. So how would you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Hadi. I live since I'm 19 in Italy. I'm 47. I was born in Lebanon and lived since 19 years old in Italy. And I studied physical therapy. And I studied osteopathy. And I studied counseling, Gestalt counseling. And I work with people to try to make better their lives.
So what you do is something called human functional integration.
Yeah.
Is that right? So how would you explain that? What is it about? Or like, what do people who come to you, what problems do they come with, and what are they looking for?
Well, they come for health problems.
Health? Okay.
Yeah, whether they are chronic problems or relational problems. And well, the work consists in the fact that we human beings are complex. We have different level of functioning. And this complexity needs to be approached in a relationship in which we make an experience that teaches something different from what we know, in order that we are able to learn, behave differently in our lives towards ourselves and towards other people. So it's about creating an experience that is able to help the most possible. Okay?
Okay.
So I don't know if it is clear.
Yes, it is clear. Well, for me it is
really,
clear,
it's
but
simple. It's like to welcome someone in your space and to listen to him, to really want to listen to him or to her, and to try to provide the space in order that they can express, and in order to understand them, their needs, and us as helpers also what is the need, and to try to move the resources that they have or that we have in order to get better. And when we say get better, it's getting better in the experience of life. It's not getting better in the single thing. It's to get better in the balance of a human being. Okay?
Yeah, well, you just explained everything that I would actually like to talk to you about, because there's so many concepts related to all of this. To start with, for me, human functional integration, like I had no idea what this means before I had the experience. Now I look at it as really all the pieces of us that were left somewhere, or that were not allowed to be expressed, or that we have not welcomed in our life experience. We just create space to welcome them home.
I agree.
It's actually, for me, it's the more I have experiences, the simpler it gets.
Of course. As I said before, life is made of little pixels. And those little pixels are experiences. And experiences are useful to learn. And learn is useful to change. And change is useful to evolve. And why do we need to evolve? Because otherwise we wouldn't be the better project of ourselves, the better part of ourselves. We would not be able to express the richness that every individual has in himself, and we would not be able to be satisfied by ourselves and by the environment that we create, by the world that we reach to create.
So you think this desire to evolve is ingrained in our human existence? Is that something that everybody wants?
Well, I think that we are born to evolve.
Well, one thing is to be born with it, and the other one is to allow ourselves to evolve.
I think both of them. We are born with that impulse, but we also need, when we embody, to allow it.
So do you think that people come to you, they are looking for the space where they are free to evolve, or to learn how to evolve?
Well, I think that the first thing that we need to learn is to cleanly perceive ourselves.
Yeah. So I learned that tool at your sessions, how to, for example, identify ourselves, so we don't get lost in all other identities or whatever we perceive in the world around us. And it's really easy to just identify with our name, age, and our sex. But this, like the first step, already can create a lot of hardship for people. For me, it wasn't so easy, you know.
Well, I think it's not easy for anybody if it goes to awareness. If you say them automatically, when we say our name automatically, we don't perceive the connection between the name and what is perceived underground the name. Okay? If I ask you, what do you call Anna? What do you perceive in you when you say your name?
Okay.
And it's...
Well, it changes really. I think it's different now than it was, I don't know, a year ago.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because your awareness of yourself
Yeah.
is different. So the meaning and the perception of Anna that you have now is different from 1 month ago, 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And that perception defines the way in which you say Anna.
Yeah.
Okay? And the way you say Anna and you perceive it makes you walk, breathe, eat, think, get into relationship differently.
Yeah. And even the age, for me, for example, age really triggered a lot when I had to say it out loud. And I never knew that there was so much energy and judgment and regret and a lot of stuff like that connected to that. So it's really getting present with things that we have on autopilot most of our lives.
Yeah. Well, you know, autopilot is necessary to not waste energy sometimes. And we all have automatisms. But the fact that we cannot have only the autopilot, we also need presence. Because if we don't guide our life and ourselves in presence, then we are going to find ourselves in spots where we didn't decide. Only because it was more easy and comfortable to go with the automatic pilot.
So let me just ask. So I've been exploring presence for a while now, and it goes more in a way of like radical presence, like really being present with every experience, every feeling, like really every moment. But you are saying that like some level of autopilot is still required so we can function better in day-to-day life? Or
I can give you an example. When we are driving the car, we have both of them.
Yeah.
Okay? So for some gestures, you go with automatic movements because it's the best way to save energy.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yes. Okay.
But on the other hand, you need to remain present because otherwise you are going to have more easily incidents because you need to adapt. There is some variation in life that you cannot know before. So you cannot go automatically only. You need to be present. So it's a balance between how much to save energy and how much to be able to use your presence resource to adapt. If you want to be efficient, otherwise you can choose comfort and not achieve any adaptment that can give you some new things. You can stay in your comfort. Maybe when you are mostly comfortable, you are okay with yourself. But then you cannot complain for the fact that things are happening and you didn't choose them, and you become victim of your life and all of that.
So that was one of the first concepts we started with at the educational, at our school with you, was the self-responsibility.
Yeah.
Which is really moving out of the victim mode and turning like the experience inwards.
Yeah.
So can you talk about self-responsibility? Because I think it's such an important topic. And it's something that most people don't even consider as...
I think that in our cultures, when we talk about responsibility, we talk about what we do. So you are responsible of doing that and of the consequence. And then we're not even anymore responsible of the consequence. We become guilty. Okay? So if we confuse between guilt and responsibility, what is going to happen is that we are going to have a whole world that function with good and bad, and punishment and guilt. And so we are not going to learn.
Mm.
We are going to be taught as animals.
And then we stay on autopilot.
And
really.
then we will go on the autopilot, because we are going to say, you know, every day it's right to do the same thing.
Mm.
But if one day we get into a situation where it is not right to do that thing, and we are not able to change, it's going to be a mess.
So self-responsibility is really about learning.
Where responsibility is also about learning. But first of all, responsibility is about being aware of what we are living and being aware that we are living it. Okay? I think we need to make a simple example.
Yes, that's
okay?
what I wanted
So,
to say.
If our child behaves in a way that we don't want, okay, and we tell him to not behave in that way, but he is not able to listen to us, and he goes on behaving in that way, and we feel anger, what is going to be our expression?
Well, it depends, but usually it's going to be expressed towards the child.
Yeah, we are going to tell him mostly, okay, you make me angry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If it is like he's responsible of me becoming angry, and it cannot be true, because we don't choose what we feel. He didn't choose what should I feel. He didn't oblige me to become angry. I handled the situation with anger. So it could be different if I say, you know, I'm feeling angry. So in relationship with your behavior, I'm feeling angry. And I need, because my anger is pointing some need of mine,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And I need you to listen to me. I need listening. I need that we can listen to each other in this relationship. But it's much more, how to say, it's much more needing energy to be in that presence.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
It's for me, self-responsibility and all of what we are talking about is really hard work.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
You know, in order to understand ourselves.
Mm. And it takes
it's
a
much
level
more
of
comfortable to cut everything out.
Yeah.
And try to not feel our unsatisfaction. Okay? Because otherwise we will feel our needs, and we feel that we need to search for resources and instruments in order to satisfy our needs.
But why is that bad? For example, like, why are people afraid of getting in touch with their needs? Because this self-responsibility requires a level of vulnerability that most people are not.
That is listening.
Listening.
First of all.
Mm.
So the fact is to accept that there's something that you don't already know, and you need to listen in order to understand. So responsibility is not about what we do, first of all. First of all, it's about what we feel.
Mm.
So the first thing that I need to do is to be responsible of what I'm feeling, or of what is emotionally moving in me, or of what I'm thinking. Because everything, thought, every physical perception, every emotional perception talks about me and tell me about my need in the moment. So responsibility starts by taking our feelings and our thoughts into our world, okay? And then being responsible for our elaboration and being responsible for our choice, is because we choose what to do and how to do it. And then we are responsible of what we do, and then we are responsible of the outcome. Okay? So in the responsibility, what is really makes the difference in the quality of being with ourselves and with the relationship with other people is really to self-report. To self-report our physical feelings, emotional feelings, mental feelings, and behaviors and outcome.
And when we self-report, we get to the need.
When we self-report, we get much more easily to the need.
Because most of us are not even like cognitively aware of what our needs are.
Of course.
We are just all the time in reaction.
In the last 100 years, the way our society is progressing makes us think that everything is easy to get to. Okay? And maybe materially it is true now.
Yeah.
Okay? But from the human point of view, how a human being functions, and from the relationship point of view, it's not like this.
So with evolution of technology,
I think with evolution of society overall,
yeah,
the direction that it is taking, it gives us the illusion that everything is easy. Okay?
And that our primary needs are changing.
Yes.
But they are not.
But
they're staying the same.
We're still human.
Yes.
We are still going to die. We're still born from a mother. We still need warmth. We still need to be understood. We still need to have touch. We still need to eat. We still need to drink. We still need to be loved. So there's a whole bunch of needs that will not change because we are human. They can evolve, but they will not disappear.
So what is the fear of getting in touch with our needs?
The burden of the responsibility.
Because then I cannot be a victim anymore.
Of course.
If I'm aware of my needs, then it's my responsibility to take care of them.
This is a brutal world. Nobody loves me. Nobody takes care of me. Oh, poor me. And I cannot play anymore that kind of process. Okay? Indeed, psychologically and emotionally, victimism is really can pay a lot.
You mean it can benefit, like people can benefit?
Yes. A lot of people benefits from it.
Yeah, because it's sometimes
it's so easy when you convince someone that you are a victim, that you will come and you'll say, poor you, I will help you freely. Because that kind of help makes us feel good. Yeah? I helped.
Yeah.
I was good. Huh? And that kind of victimism becomes also
aggression.
Yeah.
Or not aggression, but
not
it's like victimizing.
An instrument to have in a comfortable way others' energy.
Yeah. Well,
and really, you can feel the difference between who is really suffering and searching for a solution, because those people have a dignity. They are really trying to find a way, and they want to make it with their own energies. Okay? They're not pouring themselves.
So in a very pragmatic way, like my question would be how to recognize a victim who is trying to manipulate you, and how to recognize someone who...
A victim that is trying to manipulate you is always asking you to make the change in order that he will be good. This is an illusion. It is impossible to be. Okay? A person that needs help will tell you, please, can you give me an indication, or can you experience with me something that I can learn and do something for myself? Okay?
So how do you think, what would change if people became more self-responsible in this adult way?
Well, I think that a lot of conflicts will disappear immediately, because we will stop interpreting other thinking or emotions or behavior, and we will stick with our feelings and be able really to occupy a position that is coherent in the relationship.
And we will be better able to take care of our needs.
We will stop thinking that what we think that it is true must be also true for the other person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you talk more about that? Because I think like even the concept of perception is so foreign to most people. We don't have conversations about that, you know, when we are growing up. Like we don't have experiences of...
Well, perception really in this context is really simple. That camera have a perception different from that and different from that.
Yeah.
What that camera is seeing is not what that camera is seeing. But does this mean that it is true only what that camera is seeing, or that camera is seeing? Is it real?
It's all real.
It's all real.
Yeah.
So if I describe what I see from here, and you describe what you see from there, we are going to describe two different things. Does this mean that what I describe is better than what you describe?
No.
No. It's just a piece of it. So we will be different, but we can use our differences in order to recreate the best reality possible.
Yeah, you know, last year, Lara, my oldest daughter, she had an exam from ethics, and they had to explain a concept of conflicts. And she said, it's, you know, it's not a problem. I can have my own perception and you can have your own perception. And the conflict happens when one of us tries to convince the other one that they are more right.
Yeah.
But the whole world functions on right and wrong, more or less.
Of course. Because worlds need to get regulated somehow. But right or wrong are the most comfortable spaces where to go and hide.
So we still need right and wrong, or can we regulate the world in a different way?
We feel what is right or wrong.
Yeah.
We really feel.
Yeah.
We perceive when it's right or wrong. Let me give you an example. Is a knife right or wrong?
It's neither.
It's a knife.
Yeah.
Right? So, if we take it and we use it in order to prepare the food for our kids, is it okay?
Well, it's still a knife. But yeah.
But the outcome is constructive, right? But if we take it to kill someone because we are angry with him, is it okay?
Well, it's still a knife, but the outcome is not very pleasant.
No. And we know that. We already know that. Okay? The problem is not the knife.
Yeah.
The knife is not neither good, neither bad. It's the way we use it that takes us to an outcome that is constructive or to an outcome that is destructive.
Mm. So, going back to when you were first explaining the whole concept of human functional integration, and it started with experience, do you think we can learn in any other way than with experience?
I think, yes, observing others' experiences.
Yeah, that's true.
Witnessing others' experiences.
But when it comes to like personal development or evolving, listening to podcasts and reading books and all of that can give you some idea, but then
the idea is an idea. And you know, it's not a secret that we have 3 levels of integration. Okay, we have physical feelings that are integrated in the instinct brain. We have the emotional information that are integrated in the hypothalamus, okay, and in the limbic brain. And then we have cortex and we have cognitive integration. So everything that we encounter in reality and that we meet and we receive is processed on 3 different levels in our brains. Why is that?
You tell me.
Why is that? It's because we cannot perceive reality without seeing it throughout 3 different eyes. Okay, so reality is complex, and we need to build it up, and our body is made to build it up. So, yes, we can learn from our experience. We can learn from others' experience. We cannot learn only with our mind. We need to learn with our mind, with our emotions, and with our body. Everything that is not learned on these 3 levels is not really learned, is not completely learned. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So every experience is always on these 3 levels.
This is, you explained it so beautifully, because most of the learning that we've been subjected to was really through our mind. Like when we go to school, when a 6-7-year-old child go to school, it's kind of like cutting off the body and focusing just on the mind and the experiencing and learning through the mind.
Yes, it depends on the talents. I mean, some kids are more talented with the body. They understand more life with the body. And this is why they go with the body and they cut off the mind. And someone is more talented for emotions, and they learn to perceive the world with emotions, but they cut off instinct and mind. And the most of the population is more talented in the mind, and usually they cut off the body or the emotions. And anyway, for every piece of integration center that is cut off, we have a lack in the perception of reality.
So it has to be the whole package.
Yeah.
But for me, this is really...
We need to remain... we need to remain open with all our humanity.
We need to find such great words.
We need to perceive with all our humanity, with our body, with our emotions, and with our brain, with our mind.
I think it's interesting what you said, that some people are more talented to learn and perceive through feelings, because this might be more my personal question or exploration, but I was a good student. I was always an A student, and I could make my mind work for me. But in the past years, I'm realizing that, my perception is really more through feelings. For me, even the memory, for example, I don't remember in like the mind processing way or in images, but I just remember my past life in feelings, how I felt. So, and it's okay. The problem is because then the judgment comes in when, I'm not doing something or processing something with my mind, or I cannot express something in words, or, because for me, feelings are more real or more easy.
They are more easy.
Or more natural.
They are more natural, more easy. And that's why you use them the most. And that's why you need, from a part, to build up your mind, your rationality, and from the other part, to be able to move, to get into those activities that makes you express your talent.
Yeah.
Because if you remain imprisoned in the emotion, then you are going to be inefficient. The same way if you get imprisoned in the instinct. Instinctive people act. They do not feel emotions or think about what to do. They just do. But
on
then,
the first impulse.
Yes.
Okay.
But then they understood that they did something wrong only much after.
When the consequences kick in.
Yes, that's why they need rationality and emotion. Because if they get into the emotional space, then they are better informed. And so the people that are rational. Now, when we get into really people that are stuck into the mind, they think things for 90 years and they do none of them. Okay? So the problem is the balance between these three human integration systems, and to go on letting them be awake, all of them, and use them, and acknowledge the fact that instinct is important to save our life. Emotion is important to give us the energy to move, okay? And not be always to give a color to our way of life. And rationality is there to make us organize the behavior. So the three of them are really very important.
Thank you for telling me this. Really, it's really valuable information, because otherwise it's always like this constant fight again of right and wrong. It just gives more understanding, even when you have children, for example, for example, children, and you have 3 different children and they will perceive world in a different way, and then you can more recognize what they need. Someone maybe...
Yeah, but now overall we are used to say one, maybe 20, 30, 40 years old, they used to be being emotional is bad. Now we are starting to say that being rational is bad.
Yeah.
You are stuck, you are too much in your mind. And it's always like we are looking at the bad aspect of our functions. But it's not that emotions are bad, or rationality is bad, or instinct is bad. That's how are balanced inside us.
Yeah. I think today we are actually talking about balance, because this is, I think, one of the hugest things I've started learning when I came to you. And it's simple, but even like, I think we humans really like to go in extremes, like you said, like first just thinking and then just feeling. It's also, I was for many years looking for consciousness, you know. I thought that this was a way to evolve, to you know, go into this infinite space of being me. And I came to you to remind me that there's also like the human experience in the body, like the embodied human experience. And then for a while, you know, there was a confusion that maybe I need to focus just on this, but it's really always about looking for balance.
Yes, I agree. It's all also about what you need as an individual. What do you need to feel that you are on the path where you can feel your sense every day?
So, you know, the first time I came and you asked me why I came, I was like, I don't know. I don't really have any problems in my life. You know, I would just love to be more free and more authentic. And then, like, the whole journey began first with me realizing that the idea that I had about freedom and about authenticity is maybe really just an idea. And then you took me by my hand and started to show me what freedom and authenticity could really be. So can you talk more about that? Like, how do you perceive freedom, or what is freedom
If
for
we
you?
will talk about authenticity, will we be authentic? It's difficult. What I can say is that we need to pay attention when we talk about authenticity, because I have the feeling sometimes that we talk about the authenticity of the child. It's like I do what I feel, and I express what I think, and I behave the way my instinct tells me. So it's the authenticity of ignorance.
Is that what you observe?
I don't think that it is authenticity. I think that true authenticity comes from being aware of the effect that the world has on us, the effect that we have on ourselves, and the effect that we have on the world. So we are authentic really when we are aware and we can choose what to put in our expression.
In every moment.
In every moment.
What about freedom?
Freedom? How many days do we have to talk about it?
As long as you want.
Okay. It's a value. Maybe the most important value after life in itself. Because if I ask myself, what's the most important thing in my existence, beside which there's nothing else? And I will tell you life, right? So the most precious thing that we have to transform is life, till we die, right? And then when we die, we are completely transformed and there's no problems anymore. But till we are embodied and we are in life, we have a value to transform in experience. That is life. So life was given to be experienced and lived. And there's no way of experiencing it really, so we cannot choose our experiences if we are not free. So I can say the freedom after life is the most valuable state.
So the freedom to choose our experiences.
Yeah, but the choosing is not really the most precious part of the freedom. If you would ask me, what is the obstacle that we encounter in order to be able to choose, I would tell you that the freedom to feel. Because a lot of people are not anymore allowed to feel what they feel. So our feelings are conditioned. We are taught what to feel, in which moment, how to feel it. And this is physiologically impossible.
Even now in this modern world of personal growth, when you are allowed to feel a little bit, but it is a selection of feelings that is appropriate and allowed, like happiness and excitement and ease and all of that.
Yeah, I think this is what the culture defines good emotions, bad emotions, good thoughts, bad thoughts, good feelings, bad feelings. This is why the individuals, people are becoming controller much and much and much more, because they really want to eliminate the variability from life. But can we eliminate variability from life?
Well, not really. We can pretend it's not there, or we can push it away for a while.
But when it arrives, are we ready?
Most people probably not.
And how we will be? Unsatisfied, frustrated,
burned out,
depressed,
yeah,
burned out, ill, etc., etc., etc. So, freedom, the first piece and most important of it is to learn that we cannot decide what to feel. We can only feel it, whatever it is. Okay? So, if we are free to feel, then we are able to understand ourselves. And much more, we are able to understand the world around us. And we can make it better for us, and we can make it better for the world around us.
Because we're coming back to needs.
Yes.
Because feelings are communicating needs or providing some information.
They provide information and indication,
yeah,
to where to find the need. Okay? And so if I'm free to feel, then I can get a clear perception of what is happening. Okay? But if I'm not free to feel, am I free to feel pain? Then I will not be avoiding a need. But if I'm not free to feel the pain, then I will be avoiding a need, and I will feel unsatisfied even if I don't know why, because I missed the indication. Okay. I feel angry. A lot of people comes and say, I'm always angry and I don't know why. You know, you should tell most of people that anger is a secondary emotion. It becomes after something else.
What?
Like
Usually.
fear,
yeah,
like tiredness, lack of energy, or pain. Okay? So if we are unable to feel the pain or the fear, then we get into anger. Because from there, we have a necessary energy to make some change. But it is a and not well-defined change. Because if we don't find what we really need, what is there behind the pain and behind the fear, then we cannot define the action that we need to take in order to resolve our need.
So basically you're saying that every time we go into anger or any other sort of distraction really, or compensation, we miss the opportunity.
We missed an opportunity, of course, but life is good with us.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
what is compensated is not eliminated. So it's going to be there, and it will bump up in any moment where it is, there is something that is resonating. And we will get another opportunity and another opportunity and another opportunity, if we want them.
Yeah, life and body. Body will also keep communicating.
Yeah.
So you work, maybe we can just include bodies in our conversation because it's a huge part of your work as well. So how is that all connected? What we're talking about?
Everything is body.
You said that today, and I wrote it down, and I really wanted to ask you, can you tell more about what you mean by everything is body?
Every process that you are talking about is embodied. So everything is body. I think that maybe we need to say only one thing about this, that body is not a machine in the way that we think about it.
Because we look at it sometimes, or oftentimes,
it's not
as a tool.
It's
or
not
as an instrument.
Machine.
Yeah, but it's not.
No, it's a piece of consciousness.
And it has its own consciousness?
Of course. It has its own memory, it has its own consciousness, it has its own reactions. Okay? You must know that our nervous system is made of a huge part of autonomous system. That it goes by itself. It responds to everything the way it is organized to respond, without you deciding. Okay? So what happens beneath our awareness, and we are not able to see it, does not mean that it doesn't happen. It happens the same. But we are not aware of it. And thanks God, because only if we need to be present in order to make our heart beat, we will lose all the possibilities to do anything else. Okay? But this part of our life needs to be valued and attentioned.
So how do you get the relationship between us and the body?
Yeah.
So is it like, I'm interested, are we the energy?
Do you want the scientific part or do you want the philosophical part?
Both.
Well, scientifically, our brain, so if you think about the psychological part, you would think about electricity in our brain, right? Can we say like this? It's electric processes that are moving into our brain. And you say that they cannot become body. Okay? But this is not true. We have a gland that it's called hypothalamus, that it traduces all the electric work and the resume of it into hormones that guides the body functions. So there is a deep anatomical and functional connection between the consciousness of the body and the consciousness of the mind and the brain. Okay?
Okay.
So it's a continuum of consciousness. We cannot talk anymore about, it's not like what there is in our computers, okay? It's not like software and hardware. No, it doesn't function like this, okay? That's why we are able of empathy while machines are not. I don't know if our technology will ever be able to develop so much. Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. But what I know for sure right now, that our technology is not able to create empathy, okay? This is because there's not a continuum in the process of consciousness like it is in our existence. We are connected. We cannot separate between body, mind. We are a consciousness that has a way of, a possibility of express into the body and into the mind.
I'm waiting for the philosophical part. Because is there just the body and the mind?
I wouldn't talk about this really so much, because I think that our view of life is personal. And I think that every person has the right to have his or her own look at life. And this is maybe what we call spiritual part. And I don't think there is a spiritual part that is the same for everybody. I think that every individual has his spirituality.
In their own way.
In their own way. And it needs to be respected. Because otherwise we are not free to look at the world, to look at ourselves, to look at life the way we are able to look at it and then learn.
Yeah, I was actually curious because you never talk about it, and it's not like it's not really necessary. Yeah, because we have experiences, and then we can all have our own perception and our own relationship, and this is the beauty. It's the diversity.
When we talk about perception and how much it is individual, and we talk about the truth and reality, and we give every person the right to have his own vision, as long as we respect our diversities.
Yes.
Then we can all have our look on our lives and then experience it and see how it functions for us and where we need to evolve also throughout it.
Yes, because humans, we just really like to have answers to everything, but it's okay to...
I think that we like to pretend so.
Yeah.
Because we are so attached to security.
So you think answers give us that safety and some structure?
It gives the illusion that it gives us the illusion that things can remain always the same, even if we know that they can't.
Yeah. Because answer is very definite. It's like the full stop at the end of the sentence.
Yeah. I think that the question is relative to the circumstance. And I think that the answer is relative to the question and to the circumstance. It's really difficult to have one answer, and that one answer is good for everything. This is complexity. This is why life is complex. This is why we human are complex.
It's also the beauty. It's really the beauty, the diversity.
It has a great charm. But you need to convince people to accept a grade of insecurity and tell them to doubt always everything. to not go too much sure. And
Everything.
it is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay, even to fail. Because if we really are aware of our failures, then we can learn.
So the way to go, you said before, is really through our feelings. And
all of them.
All of them. And this is why we need a different relationship with our body.
Of course. You see, if we don't have our body, we cannot receive the reality the way we are receiving it. So the first clear relationship must be with our body. And it is important that it is throughout a clean perception. Okay.
What do you mean by clean? So it's not interrupted with what has been.
Judgment,
yeah.
Excess of judgment, excess of rules, excess of beliefs. Okay? Because of course, we have opinion upon things, so we judge. But it's different to judge with absolute mode or in relative mode. So if I have the doubt, then I can have my opinion and doubt it in the same time and go with it and see if it functions or not. Otherwise, I will go with something that is extreme, and I will always think that it is the right thing, and I will never learn. I will never adapt or change. Okay? So, yeah, I think that we need to live a space for a little bit of insecurity, balance it with trust in process of life, and then be experiencing ourselves and the world around us.
Well, it sounds great, but it's not that easy always.
No, it's not.
But it's so rewarding, really.
It is.
It's so rewarding.
I agree.
mean, it's like my experience of, you've been telling me like the whole life, it's the life experience, and you don't get to choose or really what you feel and what your experiences are. And when I got to really experience with my whole body what it means to take all of life, to really take all of life, no matter how painful it is or how uncomfortable it is such a different level of being here.
Yeah, I do believe it. I experienced it on myself.
Yeah.
And I really believe that we are able to live a life that has a meaning if we really believe in it. If we trust the fact that you are in it for...
Not just for survival.
Not just for survival. And it is okay. I mean, life balances gives us the knowledge that sometimes we need to survive only. But once we survived, we need to question ourselves how to use our life, how to express ourselves, and what to bring as a unique expression in this world.
Yeah, this is a huge topic as well, discovering our talents. But oftentimes our talents are really connected with a level of discomfort, like the courage to put them really out in the world. Maybe it's just my own personal experience, but I think like talking to other people, it's a huge desire in a lot of people to really get in touch with their passions and talents and what they bring to the world, and at the same time huge fear, because that means allowing into life things that are painful and uncomfortable.
Yes.
So what to do then? Just put it on the scale and see.
I think that we should allow ourselves to experience. I guess I could do a lot of things in my life, but I ended doing the thing that fills my chest the most.
You see, that was because for this podcast, I always ask my children, what would you ask the guest? And this was Taya's question. Out of all the jobs in the world, why this one?
Because it is the moment in which I felt most me. I felt most coherent with my nature. And then when you have that feeling, you cannot ignore it anymore. And when you cannot ignore it anymore, you are available to invest energy in it, whatever it takes.
And then you move your resources, or you find someone who will teach you about these resources.
This and this. And you go on learning from anybody, anywhere. And because you get the light.
So would you say that there's something that a lot of people come to you for? When they come with like maybe health problems or
to get out
something
from
else?
the confusion.
To get out of confusion.
To learn.
To get clarity.
To get clarity about what they are feeling and what their needs really.
About who they are, or just really what they really need?
Also, but I think they are connected.
Okay. So I have many more questions. The more you talk, the more questions I have. You know, one thing I'm really curious about, and you mentioned that a lot of times is because you have your clients in Italy, and you also have many clients in Slovenia, and there are obviously some cultural differences. So, so what do you observe about Slovenian people that is...
No comment.
No, just give us just one comment.
I can say what is common. They are human.
You're not going to talk about it? Like the Slovenian specifics?
Well, Slovenians are similar to Lebanese.
Really?
Yes.
More than Italian?
Much more than Italian.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
They are still fighting. They are alive because they felt maybe for very much time the threaten. So they are really alive, instinctive, hungry for life.
Hungry for life and ready to fight for it.
Yes, and I like that. I like it very much because they are worky. Psychologically, emotionally, they are really hungry.
But we could have it easier probably as well. So what
From
do we need?
the other point of view, they are much more, much less listening. Somehow. They are...
Is it connected to the fear?
Yeah. While in Italy, the well-being that is there from more time makes their mind become lazy, comfortable. And then it is, they are more willing to work, they have more space to acknowledge the good part of life. But then when arrives a problem, they have lost the way to cope with it. So it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but it's also interesting to have feedback from someone who observes, because if you are the one being here, living
Indeed,
this culture,
working with Slovenian people has different difficulties and different aspects than working with Italian people.
Yeah, I could tell. Probably not just in your work field. Probably even in other businesses. It's a lot of things are cultural. But like how are Slovenians in relationships? What do you observe?
Sincerely, after 1 year, I cannot say it. But I can say what I feel.
Okay.
And what I feel is that I am well received, and I am well contacted, and there is a space for a deep relationship.
Well, in a therapist and client, it's probably different than in other relationships that...
Yeah, I only experienced, let's say, I have some friends, mostly the one that brought me in Slovenia, but I still didn't really engage in friendships or relationship or social relationships in Slovenia. So I cannot say nothing about that, but the profound feeling is a fertile feeling.
Cool. Well, you are very welcome here.
I feel it.
Yeah. So the question from my oldest daughter, Lara, was, when you work with people and you witness a lot of emotions, and you witness a lot of things that actually could trigger you as well, how do you stay in that space of no judgment?
What a question.
Yes, I know.
What a question.
Well, she has been...
Hello, Lara. Well, when we suspend a judgment, we really suspend it when we stop judging ourselves. When we are gentle with ourselves. When we fail, we accept the failure and we accept the fact that we can learn. And that's why when I work with people, I'm unable to not judge them if I continue on judging me. So when they bring me something that is judgeable, the fact that I don't judge it in me makes it immediately become a space where they can express freely. It's a little bit difficult concept, but I hope that she is going to understand.
I mean, I think she has felt it when she came to you, and that it was very precious for her, because it's not something that most people experience very often.
I
and
really
it
believe
really
that there
is
is
so
nothing
precious
to judge. I really believe it. live it in my life every day.
Have you always been like this, or what was your process of learning or getting there?
I think that personally I have a predisposition for that thing, but I also worked it out a lot because I really believe in it. I really believe that there is no wrong or right, that there is no good or bad, and that every experience in our life, from the worst to the best, are useful for our evolving process.
I agree. But then again, judgment is so very much programmed into our lives.
I mean, it is necessary. If someone kills someone else, you need to tell him, okay, I close you in jail. Okay, so judgment is something that is really has entered to be part of our societies and cultures. But the fact is that we brought it not only to fix borders for our behaviors, but we brought it in our relationships. So also our humanity became judgeable and enjailed. So I think this is the problem in it. And when we get out of it, it's like a blind that starts to see differently, really to see.
Yeah. And again, it's probably about experience.
And it is about experience. So what I would say is, if we appreciate our humanity, our mistakes, our failures, then we will learn. And to learn, we need to not judge. We need just to look at and see what it can be felt and done better.
This is something that is so precious in all relationships, really, even in partnership, in parenting, is really just that space of acknowledging, of witnessing, of listening, and giving space to whatever is, and not cutting it off.
Yeah, not cutting
Is
off
there a
the
shortcut?
experience.
Is there a shortcut to eliminate the judgment that we have internalized somehow?
Perception.
Perception.
To understand perception. To understand that what is true for us is not true for somebody else. And that what is true is not always real. And what is real is not always perceived. So, if we really learn how to stick with our perception without pretending it to be the holy truth, then we will start understanding that diversity is the key. Diversity is the key of the exchange. And then judgment blows completely out because it's not efficient. How can you I will stop here.
No, continue.
No.
No.
No,
please
we get
continue.
into a much more complex aspect, but let's stay simple.
No, but now I'm curious.
You will leave it for yourself.
Okay, so to stay a little bit with parenting, when I said it's with all these concepts that I learn with you, I'm always, looking at, because I have my experiences of what I internalized or learned or locked away as a kid. So for me, it's always a double process. Like, how can I work on that within myself, and then also how can I be a mom that creates a space where children don't necessarily get into the same, where they can have different experiences. So what would you say that, even going back to self-responsibility, for me, it's something very crucial in my role as a mom. I see it if I want to allow them to be who they are and have their own life experience, then self-responsibility
being careful
is
to
really,
not lose the borders.
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise they will be unadaptive children, right? They need also to function in the world. They need to function within themselves, but they also need to function in the world, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always, again, looking for that balance.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always about balance.
I mean, we cannot kill their individuality in order to make them fit in the world, but we cannot make them destroy the world in order that they feel individuals. Okay? So these two extremes do not function.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what would really function? Like, where do things go not wrong, but, you know, where...
Yeah.
Where is room for different kinds of experiences in childhood and parenting?
That's the beauty of life, in the experience. When you are present in the experience, you know where are the borders of that experience. And you live it with them, and they learn. How can we define it before?
Only through judgment, really. We have to go to judgment if we want to define it. Like...
Yes, but you will fix an image.
Yes.
But then reality, how much will change every moment? How much it will be different from that image every moment? Do you know from what they learn really the most, I think? This is my idea. They learn of sharing the experience of life with us.
Us, you mean parents or...
Yeah.
Everybody, adults.
Yeah.
Okay.
Friends of them, their friends, adults around them, environment. So they really learn the most from experiencing with us, from sharing the experience with us.
So then it is our responsibility in a way, or not responsibility, because then we can attach guilt to that, but what we can do is really to provide a field where they can share those experiences. Can you give an example?
Why did we invite them into this world if we don't want to provide them for that? It would be a good question for one who wants to become a parent. Because, you know, we own life something when life responds to us. So when we ask life to have the parent experience and life say yes, where we own life, the fact to create the field for that life to grow up and become.
So what would be like a shared experience? Can you just, like, for example, like just being in a relationship and experiencing limits and conflicts and love and
what we learned.
Everything.
Can we teach them what we didn't learn?
Well, yeah, this is really another really interesting conversation, because we think, parents, that we have these ideas of we want to teach them, but if we haven't learned or experienced that ourselves, we cannot teach them.
How can we? This is where they get confused, because we try to teach them something and then we behave in the experience in a different way. and they get confused.
So bettering our parenting is really about evolving,
Well,
working on ourselves and
I
evolving
think,
ourselves.
in my experience, that our children are our most tough masters.
True. Yes.
And we must be thankful because they make us grow up, even where we don't want to.
Yes, it's so true. Every uncomfortable situation, every trigger.
Yes.
At first, the more I'm grateful for that, the better relationship I have with them. More I can be grateful for them in my life, more I resist, more less I resist and less I react.
Yeah. I'm thankful to my children because they really taught me a lot of things.
What did they teach you?
My first son taught me how much freedom is worthy.
What do you mean? Can you explain?
He is free. He is free in,
Feeling?
yeah. He is free to feel and to express. Something that I have never been.
But how did you get there? Like, what was your, are you very sensitive?
How can I know that? I am what I am.
Mm.
Which is the referment of sensitivity in order to respond to that question. I sense the way I sense. I don't know if I'm very sensitive.
Okay,
Maybe
so
I'm not at all.
it's true, yeah. How can you have nothing to compare it to, really, yeah. But would you say, I will rephrase, would you say that your sensitivity has been a difficulty for you at some point in your life and you had to learn how to?
Sure.
So what was the process of learning then?
You take me to memories here. So, when we feel somehow differently from the environment, we need to, I went into protection because I understood that there was a difference between my process of feeling and the environment around me. And it was normal because the environment was a certain type of environment where there was war, difficulties, and whatever. But anyway, even if it was another type of environment, when I felt the difference between my perception and the environment perception, then I start to question myself about everything really, really early. Because it was needed to find balance and space. And what kind of a relationship it can be built between these two diversities. And then every experience starts to work inside in a different way. And we evolve, we learn, we try, we fail.
We adopt.
We adapt.
So just before we finish, it's been a long weekend and I will let you go. Can you just like very shortly explain what are the resources that everybody has available, but maybe don't know or don't realize that they have them available to balance life day to day?
To what? To do what? You are asking me about main resources? that
Yeah.
are simple to everybody?
Well, the resources that you also use in your work, but for example, people who are listening to this maybe have day-to-day situations where...
I'm going to be so obvious that
That's
they
okay.
are going to get annoyed.
Yes, let's annoy them.
Yes, let's annoy them. Remember that when you need energy, you can have it from your breath. It's the main energy system that we have. Remember that you have main needs. Drink water, eat various, move,
Sleep.
sleep. Remember that you are a human being. And you will have the necessary energy to cope with any difficulty. When difficulty comes, remember that if you are not dead, you have a possibility. And sooner or later, if you listen, you will understand what you need, and you will move your resources towards that possibility.
Because we are born with these resources.
Yeah.
It's not really some
We are born
modern science
and we
thing.
can learn resources till we die. We are made to upgrade, to change. Life is change. Life is movement. And if we really trust life process, even when we don't understand completely what is happening, but we trust because we go with what we are feeling and we go with what we are needing, and we respect life in itself, then something good will happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just one last thing. I have now already a tradition. This is the 3rd episode, so this is now already a tradition that I ask each guest at the end to invite people who are listening to look into the bigger picture. Well, you already did with what you said just now, but is there a question or a tool or a reminder or something so people go from here to actually acknowledging the possibility to change the perspective or to see a different possibility?
Remember that you will die and don't waste time.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing all this wisdom. And I'm really looking forward to the next time because I'm sure we will get a lot of questions now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.